Something as simple as sauerkraut and having, and don't go all in too. Like don't don't make the mistake of having like a cup of sauerkraut. If you're a carnivore and you're going to bring these in, you have to go slowly. You will feel pain if you go too fast. Like it will be disruptive and you'll be like, oh my gosh, I can't tolerate these foods.
I was creating a toxic environment for myself because I felt like I had to be religious about this way of eating.
You need to start putting yourself first before worrying about other people. Like you can be loving and kind, but still have good boundaries.
Welcome to the Hot Takes and Hard Truths podcast, where we believe in unfiltered health, healing with real food, and unapologetic freedom that can only be achieved through the salvation of Jesus Christ. Your hosts, Jen and Nora, are close friends who found each other online despite the constant noise within the healthy living social media space. Their passion for natural health and Jesus, and their penchant to lean into the hard topics of the day, led them to want to share their thoughts and ideas with others who are also in search for meaning and answers. Please welcome your hosts, Jen and Nora.
Toxic environments. Today's discussion. Are you ready?
I am so ready for this. This is why we started this podcast. Our conversation this morning exactly led to us just saying, okay, we need to really record these the same day.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it only takes a little bit of time. So we can just like jump on, find a neutral time and hop on. So yeah, this whole podcast is because of our voice messages. And we were like, hey, let's record this and share with others because we know other people are like-minded. So let's dive in. Okay, we were talking about toxic environments and the effect on the body and the gut health. So tell me more about it.
For me, that first comes to mind, toxic environment, how everything is bombarding our system, and how I hate to say it, we have some control over it, but a lot of it is out of our control. They are spraying the skies, it's known,
Yeah.
but they are spraying our crops. And what they're spraying on their crops is going to be ingested by the cows, the animals. Even if it says not GMO or if it's organic, they're still getting something from the skies on our vegetables, our fruits. So there's a huge toxic environment right there. The chemtrails.
Do you know the names of any of them? Like what the toxins are? I don't, I'll admit.
I don't. What have they... There's been rumors about some of the ingredients they're spraying. I have not dug too far into them. I've heard a couple words being thrown around, but I honestly haven't done the research yet.
But we know they're toxins.
Now I will.
Is the bottom line.
They are toxins, yes. And they're affecting our gut health. So the better option is to choose the organic, obviously, but I'm sure they're still gonna have something from the skies on them. So toxic environment is the chemicals we're ingesting. That's one of the big things that popped into my head.
Yeah, and one of them that we hear a lot about is glyphosate, which is what was used as Roundup. And there's been lawsuits connected to cancer and non-Hodgkin or lymphoma, things like that. So glyphosate, I know I have heard and been reading a lot about it for a while, but it can take years to get out of your body. It's not one of those things that you just pop a supplement or do a detox protocol and then it's out of your system. Like it is in there. It is soaked and to the bone. So it's really unfortunate. I watched a guy talking about how he's been trying to get glyphosate out of his system because he was overloaded with it. That was his symptoms. And he has been doing it for 20 years, Nora.
Oh my gosh.
Much better, but it's like he showed his reports and he's like, this is 20 years of working on it. Now, granted, the beginning may have been simple stuff. People like, he didn't say what he's done over the years. But it's better, but it's still clearly, high. And that goes to prove your point that there's a lot of uncontrollables for us. Like if there's if you live near any farmland and you don't have to be super close, like the closest one to me, I think is 30 minutes away. They have cotton, they've got flowers, they've got all kinds of stuff there. And you know that they're spraying it there and you get windy days, you're breathing it in the air. Like you might have an organic crop right next to a non-organic crop. That organic crop is going to get the glyphosate sprayed if it's a windy day.
It's going to have something.
Yeah.
Yes. And I live in a golf course community, and they are actually spraying. What's today? The 22nd. They're spraying tomorrow. So they've alerted us all. The chemicals, the glyphosate is going down on all of the grass around me, and I have zero control
Yeah.
over it. I want to get out of my walks, but I know I'm going to be inhaling this. So I'm doing that whole pick your battle thing, but also we live in an HOA. So all of the grass wants to be pretty, and all of my neighbors use the Roundup on their yards. Bryce did once upon a time until I said, "You've got to stop." But then that it's getting the runoff into the sewage system, and Lord knows where it's going from there. And
It's just wild. Like, so there's not only that, the things in that they're spraying, but just in our foods in general, the extra ingredients as well.
Yes.
Like last year when I learned about different gums, like guar gum, why am I forgetting the other ones?
Xanthan?
Xanthan
Is that
gum is
one of
like
that's
a
not
borderline one, but it's another gellan gum. That was, so there's different gums that they put in drinks or liquids like heavy whipping cream, coffee, alternative, all that stuff to make them thicker. So that's all its purpose is to make it thicker, but it is so disruptive to the gut. And there's people like in the carnivore space. And I know everybody's, like you just said, pick your battles, right? I totally get it. But people are
But if we know,
yeah. Like if you're avoiding things like sugar and seed oils and stuff like that because of its negative compacts, but you're not, or negative compounds, but you're not avoiding the gums and the carrageenan and the dextrose and all those kind of things. To me, I'm like, now, if you're living your life,
that are highly
yeah,
inflammatory,
they're very inflammatory.
right?
They're very gut disruptive. Now, if you're living your life and everything's hunky dory and nothing's wrong, okay, fine, go for it. But I mean, who knows what it'll do down the road? But if you're still at like a stubborn weight loss, or you're still having IBS symptoms, or it doesn't even have to be gut related. You can be having brain fog continuously. You can be exhausted, fatigued, and it could stem from the gut. And this is where you were getting at with these things.
Yes.
Everything tends to go connect to the gut all the time.
This toxic environment is getting into our gut, affecting our gut, creating another toxic environment for us. And somehow we want to heal that, obviously, which leads us down to what most of us have done, the elimination diet.
Yeah.
Which, if you want to get into that
Yeah,
right
so
now.
there's various types of elimination diets. The kind you and I both did was carnivore, and it's definitely taken steam over the past years. Some prominent doctors, sharing their experiences with it. A lot of those doctors are male. There are other influencers, who, females who have shared their experience, and it's very interesting because I'm definitely not against it. For some reason, I can't even pinpoint exactly, but it doesn't sit well with me to do it for life or to do it long term. I keep going like, well, why do you need to stay that way long term? Is it you just don't like vegetables? Like, there's many ways to cook them to make them tasty. Is it that vegetables don't make you feel good? Well, a lot of that's in the carnivore space where vegetables make me feel gross or make me feel bloated. And yes, 100%. Some of them do. But do they all? Like, do they all? And then, we could go down a whole hole with that one too. But the elimination diet, I think that's how it was at first. And then it became like permanent diet. And I'm really hoping that out of all of this, we eventually find a balance where we can eat delicious animal-based foods and we still have an animal-based diet, but we can still enjoy, like, I love my air fried broccoli. I love it. Not drenched, but like covered in some lard with some salt. It is so good. I don't care if it's a man-made plant. Someone was telling me broccoli is a man-made plant. I'm like, I don't care. It's not doing me any harm. And the way it's cooked, I love the taste of it. And it has some beneficial properties to it, especially for hormone balance. So,
And if you're choosing the organic broccoli, shop your farmers markets,
yeah.
people. It should be okay for your gut. We shouldn't be so concerned. We shouldn't have a visceral
Yeah,
reaction
as long
to
as it's
it.
cooked well.
So that
Yeah.
correct. So that one toxic environment is leading us to this other toxic environment of this whole carnivore space and the
No, you're
sorry
good.
people, but the whole online social media can be highly toxic. So that's where our talk led us to this morning, how your toxic environment, the thing that you thought of, what did you think of first
Yeah.
when
So
I mentioned toxic
when you
environment?
mentioned it, I mean, obviously, I thought of the stuff in the skies and the stuff sprayed in our food and things like that was like a given. But more so, I think because it's been something I've been noticing lately the past number of months is, and it's not, let me clarify, it's not just the carnivore space on social media.
Lots of health
Yeah, it's a lot
spaces.
of health spaces.
All
I notice it because I've been in the carnivore space and a lot of my following on Instagram came from when I was carnivore. So I notice it's just, I don't want to say cliquish, but kind of. And if you start introducing plants of any sort, a lot of times people are like, they'll bash you or they'll be like, what are you doing? You're going to have joint pain. This one's high oxalates. This one has plant toxins. It's like they just start picking every single tiny thing about it. And it's like, why can't we just focus on feeling good? I am happy with diversity and having plants in my diet. If I notice something, and here's an example, I freaking love coleslaw. I love coleslaw. I never noticed until recently, oh my gosh, that's what's causing a lot of bloat. So, coleslaw, I will say, yes, that doesn't sit well with me. And for a lot of people, because it's raw cabbage, right? The broccoli, the cauliflower rice, the green beans, like there's a lot of vegetables. I just buy like mixed vegetables from Costco. They're frozen, right? Like uh a lot of those I feel good on and it makes me happy and I don't have ill effects. So yeah, so part of it the what you were saying was the environment, the social media part where all of a sudden it's like, oh, she's not carnivore anymore because she's having these plants. Like, bye, adios. Um
They're all so different, and we all have to find what works for us. And hey, if carnivore works for you and you are thriving, if you are a vegetarian and it's working for you and you are thriving, that should be fantastic. And we should celebrate each person
yeah.
individually. But I mean, I know I have felt guilty because I wanted that community and I wanted to, I don't know if pleasing, I'm going to be embarrassed to say that, but I wanted to please some other people. So I would feel guilty and bash myself if I had a food that wasn't on
Mhm.
plan. And so I was creating a toxic environment for myself because I felt like I had to be religious about this way of eating.
I think you really pinpointed it there too, the whole being religious about it. So here's the other aspect is like when you grow a platform on social media, it's centered around some sort of niche. Like for mine, it's hormone balance, insulin resistance, things like that. So yes, I tend to gravitate towards more keto carnivore stuff on there because that helps with insulin resistance. But what happens once you reverse your insulin resistance? Like, do you need to stay that way? Is that our goal? Is to stay super low carb ketogenic our whole life? Or can we find ways to introduce certain foods that bring us a little more pleasure and diversity? Um, so when you have this niche on social media and it happens to be centered around a way of eating, particularly whether it's carnivore, vegan, vegetarian, you grow this massive following and then you realize, oh my gosh, I might need to change something about it. What happens, right? Like there's this pressure to have to stay fill in the blank whatever way of eating it is or whatever way of living it is. That's what people are following you for. And then it's like, whoa, I'm going to lose my following. So this is part of that toxic part I was talking about where I have spoken with people in the DMs and they just want to carnivore harder. Like, hey, I have this problem going on. And I'm like, well, maybe this other aspect might fix it away from food. Or maybe it does have to do with food and bring in some carbs or bring in. And when I say carbs, I'm very specific on vegetables and fruits. I'm not like bring in your freaking spaghetti and whatever, your Pop-Tarts, whatever. I'm not one of those. But maybe you bring in some of those things. Maybe we look at gut balance. But these people are so adamant on like, carnivore is the way. And I need to make it work for me because that is the way. And if it's not working for me, then something's wrong with me.
Maintaining that image.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So it's just been an interesting balance lately for me of trying to, like you said, community, finding your community, right? That is one thing carnivore does fantastic, is finding community. And if you're carnivore, you have community because there's lots of people celebrating with you. But then when you're like, I want to switch off of it a little bit, still prioritize protein and animal based, all of a sudden, it's like.
And life happens. I mean, it's maybe for some it's been easy to be strict carnivore and eat only meat, but life happens and trauma. And I mean, I'm glad there's people that are so strong out there
No,
that man can maintain that way of eating. But
yeah, and I probably could if I wanted to, but that's the thing, I just don't want to. I enjoy fruit.
I got to a point where I didn't want to put that stress on me anymore because me personally, I came to a certain point where I couldn't carnivore harder.
Mhm.
It wasn't working for me. I did the lion diet for months. I didn't drop the weight. I did not fix my hormones. They improved a little bit at one point, but then you have to start looking at the other factors, the environment and the toxic
Yeah,
environment.
yeah,
So
exactly.
and that's what it all boils down to, is a toxic environment one way or another. And what do you personally need to do to address that? We're all
What
different.
was the thing you talked about on the voice message about the bread? Like milling bread.
Ah,
Yeah.
so I've been going to some of these Weston A. Price conferences lately, and they are big in sourdough bread and raw milk, all helping the gut. So why do so many people have celiac disease? Why do we have this gluten intolerance where people over in Europe, yeah, they're walking a lot, but they're able to tolerate all this bread? Could it be our toxic environment here in the United States, the glyphosate that they're
Yeah.
spraying? So I am going to start my sourdough journey primarily for Bryce. He wants his sandwich bread, but I want to do this test. My gut, I know, is wrecked. I know I probably have leaky gut. I can't tolerate much of anything, and I should be able to. So I bought a grain miller.
Super cool.
And I love my gadgets in the kitchen. So I am going to buy organic einkorn
Mhm.
berries, and I'm going to mill my own berries and make my bread from scratch and see what that does to my
So wait,
gut. There
hold
are
on. Einkorn
sorry.
berries. It's not grain.
Wheat berries. So apparently they start out as wheat
Interesting.
berries. That's the term for them. I still need to do all this research. I'm gonna buy a class because it's very
Yeah.
intimidating to me. But the proper bread, there's a way that our body breaks down carbs, and milling your own berries right before you make the bread apparently helps with, like I said, I need to research, but it helps your body break down the carbs
Mhm.
better, and it can be more beneficial to your gut
Oh,
health.
interesting.
There's a couple people that I started following recently that started milling their own wheat berries, and kinda like a probiotic, they were able to fix their gut health with this homemade
Wow.
bread. Very
I
fascinating.
believe that. I mean,
Yeah.
it reminds me, and I haven't done this for a month. So talking about this is making me need to get back in the kitchen. But making my own yogurt, right? Like finding organic,
Just like that.
healthy. I like using half and half because it gets thicker. If you use just plain, like, I've never done it with raw milk. I'm too nervous to experiment with it. Like, I'd have to boil it to a certain point to do some pasteurization, right? Not ultra pasteurized, but I get low pasteurized half and half, and we'll make yogurt, and I put my own probiotics, and it's delicious. And adding those certain ones, you control, like, hey, if I know I need L-Gaceri, or if I need L-Reuteri is a really good one that pretty much all of us are missing once you have any antibiotics. Making that and helping your own microbiome, you don't have to be spending money on expensive probiotics all the time, right? Like, in the beginning, it might help a little bit, but then it's kind of like, okay, gardening, right? Like, you might plant a bunch of seeds at first in your little vegetable garden or whatever it is, and then you have bunches of them, but you don't have to keep buying the seeds. You can use the seeds from the fruits that you have. Or, like, I've seen, I don't know if this is true because I'm not a gardener, but you can take the bottom of the celery root and plant that and it'll grow. And same with lettuce. So to me, using probiotics in the beginning is if your gut is completely depleted of beneficial bacteria, sure, use some good quality probiotics. Yeah. I really like Seed. I really like Microbiome Labs, the Restore Flora.
I think that's the one I
Yeah,
use.
that one's a really good
Yeah.
one. It doesn't need to be in the fridge. Restore Flora and the, oh my gosh, what's the other one? Microbiome MegaSpore. I have it right there.
Oh, that's the one I use,
Yeah.
MegaSpore. But it is super expensive.
It is.
Well, I say expensive because they add up
They
over
do,
time.
yeah.
And I mean, $60 to $70 a month. Gosh, I would love to get rid of that
Mhm.
and heal with foods and get
And
my
you
probiotics from
shouldn't have to
foods.
take it forever. Like, I that's why I always do a gut test on people before I give probiotics, because there might actually be a decent amount in there and they're okay, but they just happen to have some negative dysbiosis, some bad bacteria in there that we need to eliminate, and that might all be it is. It might just be leaky gut where, you know what, you might not need a probiotic. You just need to heal the mucosal lining. So there's a lot of aspects to the gut health, and the mucosal lining can get impacted by these toxins that we're on. But yeah, like, just getting it from your food, something as simple as sauerkraut, and having, and don't go all in too. Like, don't don't make the mistake of having like a cup of sauerkraut, or like, if you're a carnivore and you're going to bring these in, you have to go slowly. You will feel pain if you go too fast. Like, it will be disruptive and you'll be like, oh my gosh, I can't tolerate these foods. But that's because you haven't had them in a long time, and your microbiome, your digestive capacity adjusts as you're getting rid of stuff. It's like, well, I don't need this enzyme to break down carbs because carbs aren't coming in. And then you all of a sudden have lettuce or whatever it is. You're like, oh, I can't tolerate it. Well, yeah, that's usually part of it. You got to go slow. I went on a little tangent there. Sorry.
But that's what I love about the Weston A. Price diet. They definitely focus on the meat first, but then with every meal, you're having a little fermented foods to help with your gut. So you're constantly getting these pro and prebiotics, I
Yeah.
believe.
Fermented is
And
mainly a lot of
I
pre, and it feeds the good. Yeah.
okay. So when I go to these conferences, I never have, yes, I step out of my comfort zone with foods, but because I'm having all of this healthy stuff go into my gut, I never feel bloated. My heart rate never goes up. I never feel flushed, and there's a huge difference. So,
And I think one of the things important to say too is, like, we have to meet where we are at ourselves. So there may be people out there that are like, I can't afford organic. I don't know how to garden. I live in a place like Phoenix where hardly anything can grow in the summer, So obviously always meet your, you got to pick your battles. You got to do the best you can. Myself, and the other thing, picking the battles, is I don't go to the farmer's market because, number one, it's too hot outside. I don't want to spend time out there. But also,
very true.
I don't eat enough of the vegetables where they don't go rotten in the fridge. So there's certain ones. Mushrooms we will eat up quickly. Zucchini will eat up quickly. But there's some of them, if I buy there, they just go bad quickly. So I'm very
Mhm.
big into buying organic frozen. And Costco has organic broccoli, organic strawberries, organic blueberries.
I didn't know
Oh,
that.
yeah. I rarely buy.
I'm gonna have to
The
check that
only
out.
vegetables I buy fresh is zucchini, squash. I'll buy mushrooms, obviously onions, and then occasionally some other things like radishes. Like I might do those. But no, all the cauliflower rice. They have organic cauliflower rice. So
Okay, I'll have to renew my Costco. I had no idea because I was only buying my meat from Costco, which
and
yeah, I know, don't
that's
judge
funny
me.
because I never
But
buy my meat at Costco. So it's too expensive.
so there's lots of good options for you people
Yeah.
out there to avoid this toxic environment. I mean, frozen organic, I had no idea. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So
Yeah, it's good. And I mean, there's obviously other toxins we could have talked about, but we try to keep these episodes, short and simple so that it's consumable and you don't have to listen to them over a 2-week period. But one of the other things I do want to mention that I have used for these toxins that are uncontrollable, okay? Because it can feel overwhelming. We want control. Yeah, it is because
yes.
we want control over our own health and our own life. And it's like, oh my gosh, there's stuff being sprayed there. I can't, there's stuff in my food. How do I know what ingredients to read? All those kind of things. So, 2 supplements.
Solution.
Yeah.
What are they?
And I try not to like overwhelm people with supplements. I think we should get as much as we can from our food. But this is a prime example where I love the company Body Bio, and they have a supplement called PC, phosphatidylcholine. And it's incredibly pure to the point where it goes into our body cellular level, binds to the toxins, and helps eliminate them. And I love their PC
Wow.
because I have had liver issues forever. I mean, I've been on buttloads of medications. And I tried everything to lower my enzymes. All the typical stuff. Dandelion root, milk thistle, NAC, all those things. Nothing was touching the numbers until I did Body Bio PC. And my liver enzymes finally went into a functional, healthy range. And that's when I knew, okay, it's doing something. So this has become a staple for me. I did therapeutic doses for I want to say 6 months. And then now I just do maintenance where it's like a teaspoon or 2 a day. So whatever I'm being exposed to out there, it's helping to continually flush it out. That and their TUDCA is really good. And then sodium butyrate is a really good one to have. Like if you go out and you eat with friends and you might be exposed to seed oils. Example, I'll be going on a cruise in June. God only knows what seed oils and stuff will be in those foods. I will be bringing my butyrate with me to help combat what they will do to my body. So, Body Bio is an incredible.
And so
Go ahead.
talking about you, so you mentioned the cruise ship and you mentioned the food aspect. So cruise ships are now also getting 5G on
Yeah.
them. So I'm sure your supplements can help also detox from your body being bombarded by this toxic 5G environment that we have no control over.
100%. Yeah. And
So
then also, I mean, if I was going to the Caribbean, it would be different. Or it's like going on the beach and relaxing because there is that nervous system aspect. When you keep your body calm and feeling safe, it gets the signal to detox and get rid of stuff, right? We'll be in Alaska, so there's lots of nature there. So, I mean, grounding, barefoot, all that kind of stuff, touching the plants, being around will also help to mitigate that that non-native EMF stuff. Yeah, that is all around us.
yes.
So, yeah, I just want to give a shameless plug to them. I do have a discount code with them. You can use Jen Winkler for 15% off, I think it is, 10, 15. I never remember the amounts. But I only partner with companies that I trust. And I used them for 6 months before I even shared because I wanted to make sure this was legit. Because they're not cheap, but they're worth it. I mean, the amount of money I spent on other supplements and then saw nothing, I could have just spent on this and seen results. So I never even go with my clients like, do the dandelion root, do the NEC. Like, I'm just like, go get PC because I know it works, go get TUDCA. So,
One and
yeah.
done. Now, some other things that we can do to help with this toxic environment. So we've we've griped a little bit about what we're dealing with, but what else can we do maybe that is free to help our bodies detox from this toxic environment? So, our lymphatic system, we want to get that moving. So, dry brushing,
Mm-hmm.
rebound, jumping.
You don't even have to rebound, my understanding. You can just go for walks. Like as you're walking briskly,
Okay, I did read that
it's
too.
moving.
I heard that the other day, and it made me feel
Yeah.
so much better because I am so bad about getting on my rebounder. But then I did hear that, what was it? Is it like 10 minutes of walking equals something detox? I don't know. There were some numbers thrown out there. But yeah, going out for a walk in nature as well, despite the skies being sprayed. It's all for our mental
Right.
health, right? So just tell yourself you're detoxing as you're walking. And then with the social media aspect, how can we help with that? Because I know a lot of us see stuff and we're a little put off, and it might not be a positive thing for us. So what are your suggestions on, I know we mentioned the carnivore, but there's other things that can overwhelm
There's like
us
politics,
and
there's all kinds of hot talk. Yeah, there's all kinds. So
all of
I
it.
think the healthiest thing is to find what the boundary is for you, for every person. Everybody's boundary is different. Some people, like we talk about moderating versus abstaining, right? Like some people with social media, they need to be completely abstaining and they need to just unfollow those pages. If you are worried about hurting people's feelings, then you just mute them. They won't know. I mean, some people pick up on it and they'll be like, hey, they haven't talked to me in a while. But you need to start putting yourself first before worrying about other people. Like you can be loving and kind, but still have good boundaries. So that's what,
And I love that, boundaries on all
yeah.
things with this environment. Yeah, you have to. You have to put your mental health first
Yeah,
sometimes.
because I mean, we don't want to constantly see the stuff that's bringing us down. So unfollow, mute, whatever it takes. Still be in communication with those people if you like them in general. Like you can once in a while look at their stories or, oh, let me go look at their profile. I haven't seen them in a while. So that's what I do. And it has brought a lot of freedom in a sense. The other thing, this is my next goal, and I've talked to Jeff about it another time, is as a creator, as a business owner, I can't just take off social media from my phone. So for people like, normally I'd say you just delete it off your phone. If you want to go on it, you have to go on your laptop and look. But people like myself,
I've done that.
yeah, but people like myself, I create content, I'm talking with people on there, finding clients. I can't do that. So I heard Huberman say this, and it was brilliant, is you find another phone. We go through phones like toilet paper. Like it's like every 3 years where you. So I know we have a phone in the house here somewhere that still works, but we just didn't want. And I will install the social media apps on there along with my Google Photos and Canva or whatever I need on there. And then I can take photos and stuff with this phone that I carry around, but I won't post or look at social media until I grab the other phone, which will be connected to Wi-Fi. And then that's when I do all that. And that would help with the doom scrolling, with seeing those other posts, because that's why we're tempted. We have this computer in our pocket all the time. And we're like, hey, I'm bored. I want to numb myself. Let me scroll. It's an escape. And then we don't feel better.
Yes.
It's like we see
No.
stuff that pisses us off. And, anyways, yeah.
Bryce avoids Facebook and Instagram for that reason. He noticed me, I doom scrolled the other day, and he said, Nora, you don't get anything positive from
Yeah.
this. Why are you doing
Our
this?
husbands are similar.
He said, I don't use I don't go on to Instagram. It's like, because it's always, what am I doing wrong? And I send you things, and it's usually health stuff. Well, who do I follow? What method do I follow? What diet do I follow? What nutrients do I need? What nutrients do I not need? There's so many questions, and you're constantly being bombarded,
Yeah.
and it doesn't do too much positivity. You need to listen to yourself.
Well, and it's a lot of
sometimes.
fear mongering. Like that's what gets clicks is stop eating this superfood. Don't drink water anymore. Like, and then you're like, oh, your
Or
nervous system's
only taking too much water, that's been the latest thing that's been hitting
Oh, I
me
didn't
is,
know that.
"Oh, you can't drink 100 ounces of water anymore." And I'm like, "Well, 2 years ago, I should be."
Yeah. No, I hate that because that's what gets clicks, but I don't want to instill fear in people and I don't want to like startle their nervous system, but I do get the point of like stop fasting because it's like, oh, it makes the person look and listen. But then there's the context of like, no, you can still fast. Just be mindful of the way you're doing it. But if I were to say it,
And when?
it's not as attractive because I'm just talking, you know what I mean? It's just weird. I don't know. Whatever. So, but yeah, so that's part of it. And then retrain the algorithm is another one. If you're not a content creator or anything like that, and you can just look at what you want, like start liking posts that are beneficial for you, that bring you joy and bring you life. And then the algorithm gets retrained and it starts showing you more of those. On Facebook, I don't do my business on Facebook, it's my private page. So when I'm looking at reels on there, it's showing me things like hilarious baby things, or I don't know why it started showing me cat stuff. Maybe because I sent you some of the ones I saw, but it'll send me funny stuff because that's what I like, the ones that make me laugh. Um, so that's my place I go to when I want to laugh, and then Instagram is like I just want to catch up with some people and post my stuff. But anyways,
It's all the health
yeah.
stuff. I retrained mine for national park stuff. And then, of course, the political stuff this year happened. And now I'm having to retrain it again because it turned into a toxic environment.
And I created a separate, so here's an interesting one. I created a separate Instagram page just for like political and religious stuff away from my business one. So if I do want to look at political stuff, I'll go to that page. But then I realized I never go anymore. But I know it's there, And same with X.
Just in
Yeah.
case you've reached your limit.
Exactly. Like you can go to X. That's my political place. Like if I want to look at what's going on, my husband will tell me. He'll be like, "Hey, did you hear about this thing?" I'm like, "No." Does it sound interesting to me? Okay, I'll go look it up. If not, well, he told me about it. Okay, that's fine. So, all right. Well, this was great. I hope this is beneficial for anybody else that was listening and made you realize, like, yeah, there are some things in my control. There's some things not. So, yeah, all this stuff.
What can you do about the things that are in your control and out of your control? So hopefully we gave you a little feedback on what to do to help with your toxic environment. But these are some conversations that we are hoping to do in the future. Just hop on. Yeah, it was a little probably chaotic, but that's how our conversations go on our phones.
It's fun.
We're just spitballing.
I hope you guys feel like you're just a part of this conversation because it really is fun. I know some podcasts I listen to, and when there's people talking back and forth like this, I want to like jump in and just be like, "Hey, yeah, and this and this and that one too," that they forgot to talk about or whatever. So I'm sure there were some people doing that. But yeah, y'all, if you have any questions, email is in the description. If you have topic suggestions, throw us an email, feedback. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if you're on YouTube, on Spotify, or any listening platform. It really helps our podcast to get out there and to share it with more people. And if you like this, don't forget, take a picture of it, put it on social media, share it, tag us, make sure we spread the word. So, all right.
All right, this was
Talk
fun.
to you later.